Peace, peace. Welcome to this special edition of the Willie Bobo Show. Of course, it's your man Ox the Light, and today we're setting aside this usual rhythm to sit with a piece of history that is heavy and painful. So if you're looking at the entitled image, you see a powerful fist raised up against a vibrant tricolor background. It's the symbol of strength, resistance, and a symbol of survival that we're still having to live out today, unfortunately. Because we're here to talk about Juneteenth, a date that's often misunderstood, but one that really defines the very heartbeats of our American society. The long, jagged road to freedom was a common story, told that on June the 15th, 1865, Union soldiers arrived in Galveston, Texas, not far from San Antonio, and suddenly told enslaved people that they were free. But history is rarely that clean, because the truth is many enslaved people already knew about the Emancipation Proclamation and the worthless piece of paper that it is. They heard whispers, they overheard their masters in private, and they had sophisticated networks of communications that spread news like wildfire, unbeknownst to their knowledge. They knew that the war had been raging. They knew that the law had been changed on paper. The tragedy, the horror, wasn't that they were ignorant. It was that the news didn't matter because there was no one there to enforce it. For 2.5 years after President Lincoln's 1863 proclamation, approximately 250,000 people in Texas remained in bondage. Shows you how much of a piece of shit state this is, still to this day. Slaveholders didn't just forget to tell them. They moved their human property to Texas to keep slavery alive as long as they possibly could, preserving their own power and profit at the expense of human lives. The real reason why the Alamo was fought. Do your history. Now, the day that the bayonets arrived was when Major General Gordon Granger arrived in Galveston on June 19th, 1865. And he didn't just bring the news that, was brand new to the ears of the enslaved, as I alluded to. He brought the one thing that had been missing, the barrel of a gun. He brought federal troops with him and fixed bayonets to force an enslaved system that had been held in place by systematic torture, murder, and fear. The General Orders Number 3 is what it was called. He didn't just authorize to set people free. It was a cold administrative act. And it even included language advising the newly freed to stay put and work for their former masters for wages. A final attempt to keep the status quo intact. It really was. But the people heard that what they needed to hear. All slaves are free. Now imagine the adulation, the visceral, overwhelming relief that must have washed over those families. It's unimaginable. And for the first time, they were legally empowered to do things that had been forbidden, to pray together, to learn, to read and write, to keep their families together, and demand their own dignity. And here's why we still carry this weight. The reason why we celebrate this today, it's because slavery did not end with a clean cut. Even after the announcement, white Texans in some regions continued to hold people in bondage. And violence against Black people surged as their tool of intimidation. We celebrate Juneteenth because it reminds us that freedom was not a gift, and it is not still to this day. It's a struggle. Our ancestors had to fight for every inch of their humanity, and that did not end in 1865. We're still here, carrying that legacy, fighting for equality, honoring the bloodshed by those who paved the way. Some of us are anyway. A lot of you are just selling the fuck out and giving them what they want. Because it's about more than just a day off, or a barbecue or a parade. This is a day of profound weight. It's about recognizing the moral stain that slavery left on this nation and acknowledging that the work of true freedom is a continuous generational project. I call you to remember that when you look at this image again, the fist raised high, let it remind you of the 250,000 who waited in the shadows of the gallows for a freedom that was already theirs by right. Let it remind you that we are the living, breathing descendants of our resilience. We celebrate with red food, symbolizing the blood that was shed. And we gather with family because after everything that they went through, surviving to be together is a revolutionary act. We are here, we are remembering, and we are not letting this story be forgotten. This is Ox the Light. This is the Willie Bobo Show. Stay strong. Keep the legacy alive. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment. Thank you for listening. Peace be unto you all. Happy Juneteenth.